At this point, Lois has got to be in an alcohol-induced coma because what the farfanugan is going on here? Hey y'all, welcome to my channel review where we talk about all things television and film from today and yesteryear. So I wanted to come on here and do a brief recap of episode 7 from Grotesquire. And this episode completely went over my head. Like, I did not see some of this stuff coming, and I still do not know what is going on. Okay? So the episode basically starts off with Ed and Merritt. They're sitting down talking to Lois, and Merritt lets her mom know, that her and Ed are in love, and, that she got accepted on a show, Half Ton Trauma. And, she was just like, Ed and I are going to move in together. We found a cute little home in a gated community. It's best to have that type of support, when I'm going to be filming the show. And of course, Lois is looking at her like, girl, please. Her demeanor is very nonchalant, the way that she's responding to the information that she's receiving from her daughter and Ed. And, she does say to her daughter, she was like, well, I appreciate you telling me this and not keeping it from me. But, at the same time, Lois is not here for it. So as the conversation ensues, Lois basically makes remarks to her daughter like, she was like, Fast Eddie and I had a little thing. She makes references to saying something to the effect of I had him in my mouth or whatever. And Eddie is like, you need to stop lying. Nothing ever happened between us. And, you know, Lois starts saying some very disgusting and disrespectful things about her daughter. And I was like, okay, I get that the character is drunk, but it was just very low below the type of things she was saying about her daughter's body and stuff like that. And I was like, girl, stop. Like, it was a bit much. It was a bit much. So as Lois is sitting there saying all these disparaging things to her daughter is being calm. She's being cool and collected. She was like, Mom, please don't do this. Don't do this to yourself. I'm worried about you. I'm here to help you. We want to get you some help. And so Lois basically says to her, girl, please, you are a lost cause. She was like, you are encased in hardened fat. She was like, the sludge that runs through your veins is like the equivalent of syrup. And she also said to her daughter, and by the way, your dad is a fornicating liar who was sleeping around with his students. And then the daughter was like, oh, no, ma'am, you're not about to talk about my dad like that. She said, I don't think so. That is a lie. And so Lois was like, no, it's not. And she was like, that's where you get it from. You get your ways from your dad. And Meredith's like, well, if my father are those things that you're speaking of, you are the one who drove him to it. You're the one who were always with the combative warnings. And Lois was like, no, all I wanted to do was try to have everyone be as strong as me. She was like, I just wanted y'all to basically see the perspective I was coming from. She was like, I just wanted everyone to wake up from this nightmare. And I'm thinking to myself, Lois, dear, you are part of the nightmare, my love. Like, you're sitting here expecting people to see things from your point of view when in actuality, your point of view is always at the bottom of a bottle of vodka. Like, no, ma'am. So after Lois leaves the restaurant in a disarray, honey, she ends up going to the hospital and basically letting the folks know she's ready to pull the plug on her husband. She was like, I want to take him off life support. And, how soon can we get it done? And of course, Nurse Red walks in, aka I Love Lucy Reject Baby, because she's nosy. Anytime she sees Lois on the scene, honey, she wants to know what's going on. And Lois basically lets her know, oh, honey, the love of your life, who is my husband, we about to go send him to meet the Grim Reaper. Okay? So, honey, they send Nurse Red in to unhook her lover off life support. And before this actually happens, she and Lois have a conversation briefly about, just the decision in general. And, Lois just tells her, she's like, honey, I am at peace. I am relieved, basically like she got her mind made up and it is what it is. And, Nurse Red is just, she's crying or whatnot. And Lois basically tells her, she was like, he was in love with you. He was married to me, but he was in love with you. And she's like, that's the only thing I can offer you, as far as grace, just you knowing that he was in love with you. And, Lois says to her, I feel sorry for you. And Nurse Red was like, I feel sorry for you too. And Lois was like, honey, lighten up, Red. She was like, you ain't got to feel sorry for me. She was like, I'm about to give this man a ritual he would appreciate. And I was like, why is she using the word ritual when you about to send your husband to be with the Grim Reaper? But anyway, she was like, she was going to, you know, toast to his favorite whiskey and, read from his favorite poet. So here we are again. Nurse Red is unhooking her lover off life support, and Lois is standing there reading from a book of poems that he liked from his favorite poet. And she also ends up taking a shot of whiskey. And I was like, yo, this whole situation was completely bizarre. Okay. So here we get a glimpse of the devil in the pulpit. Apparently, Father Charlie is the one who has been unaliving all of these people. And I mean, with this show, you never know. Maybe it is him and maybe it actually isn't. Okay, sidebar, y'all. I noticed that they had Niecy Nash's wife on this episode. That's her. She was the one that was smoking the weed or whatever. But anyway, listen, I understand when you're in Hollywood, you be want to look out for your folks, your spouse, your people, your kids. But baby, she had a few lines in this episode, and I was just like, hated it. So Lois ends up in this room and she sees all these Bible scriptures and things of that nature just pinned to the wall. His desk is covered in all types of books and letters, just all kinds of information. Of course, we get another glimpse of a Baphomet, like whatever, come on. And she goes over to this book and she starts flipping through the pages, and there she sees all of the photos and things like that, which are very descriptive and identical to most of the unalivings that have occurred, as far as the families, Last Supper, the people that were hanging from the wall. Of course, the Last Supper that was, in the church. Also, the woman who had the man head buried between her thighs and whatnot. So she is going through all of these things, which basically is just providing the evidence that she needs to go along with what they're saying that Father Charlie has done. So here we have Sister Megan, aka Sister Mary TMZ, honey. She is up here having a discussion with some of the pastors at the church about all the goings on with Father Charlie and all his nefarious, deviant ways, honey. Okay. And so, one of the pastors, he makes the comment, the story has gone viral, that the church is getting a lot of attention off of the negativity, unfortunately. And ultimately, Sister Mary TMZ lets her know that she wants to be in charge of all the reporting and things like that in reference to his case, as well as other things going forward. So Lois ends up going to the office. She's talking to her partner, and she walks in and they are throwing her a surprise congratulatory party. So, they got all these balloons, saying congratulations, basically, letting her know job well done. And, everybody's all celebratory about the case. But of course, Lois still feels like there are some things that are still unanswered for her in reference to the case. But at the same time, she is, grateful that people have recognized her hard work. So in the midst of her party, Lois is called into the office by her boss or whatever, and the lady basically lets her know, hey, they're going to be cutting about 60,000 employees. They're moving in AI, because Lois is like, girl, I'm not about to quit my job. Y'all going to have to fire me. And the lady was like, they're going to, because they're getting rid of so many people. She was like, they want to basically incorporate all this new technology, which is going to leave a lot of us without a job. And she was like, but Lois, this is an opportunity for you to do the things that you wanted to do. She was like, you're going to be making over $100,000 a year plus your husband's retirement. She's like, you finally get to live the life and experience that you've been wanting to all these years, so you should take this opportunity as a blessing instead of basically trying to fight it. And Lois, basically, she's like, she's not trying to hear it because she still feels like her job is not done. And the lady makes the statement on the way, while Lois is on her way out of the office. She says, you need to wake up. And remember, Lois says this to her daughter and Ed at the beginning of the show when she was like, I want everybody to be strong like me. I'm just trying to get everyone to wake up. So catch how the balloons signage changed. So when Lois was leaving the office, after the lady told her she needs to wake up, I noticed that the balloons said something different. They are now saying get well soon and feel better. And Lois, she's walking and she glances at those balloons because she noticed that the signage on the balloons had changed as well. So Lois is in the kitchen cooking, and her and Sister Mary TMZ are chatting it up, honey. Al Green is playing in the background, okay? Sister Mary TMZ, she is sipping on some champagne, and she's seemingly a little excited about the fact that the church is getting all of this attention from negativity, mind you, and her reporting of all these unalivings. And Lois peeps that. She's like, girl, you seem to be doing very well for somebody who just got out of the hospital after being popped. Like, really, what's going on? And she says to Sister Mary TMZ, she was like, the fact that you got popped, and she's like, there was very minimal bleeding. She was like, it was just enough, but the bullet did not hit an artery. She was like, it was almost as if you getting popped was very theatrical, like what's really going on. So Sister Mary TMZ jumps down from the counter and she walks into the pantry to grab some type of food or whatever. And Lois peeps her shoes and she's like, oh, Louis Vuittons, red bottoms. And Sister Mary TMZ was like, yeah, girl, they was an impulsive buy. I just tried to, wanted to splurge or whatever. And so Lois tells her the story. She's like, well, do you know what red bottoms mean? She's like, back in the day with the ladies of the night, honey, if you got blood on the bottom of your shoes, that would tell people if you were a sinner or not. So as Sister Mary TMZ and Lois are continually talking, the sister makes a comment and says that if it wasn't for her continuous coverage of the unalivings, they would never have been able to catch Father Charlie. And Lois was like, no, dear, they were able to catch him because I popped him. And, Lois was like, a lot of people want to pretend like they don't know what's going on when they actually do. So at this point, she is basically trying to get in Sister Mary TMZ's head because she knows that some things are not adding up. And so, Lois goes on to say, that she was like, I find it very funny that you had such a heavy involvement, in everything that was going on with this case. She was like, oftentimes you would even show up to the crime scene before I would even get there. And, she says to her, she said, I liked you in the beginning because I thought you were a lot like me. I thought that you were just interested in, crime and just solving things. She said, but I believe it's a bit more than that. And when Lois is talking to her and saying all these things, Sister Mary TMZ, she's getting a little anxious. She ends up grabbing a knife and she's just basically dangling the knife. And Lois just continues. She just says to her, when we went into your room, I saw that you had a wall that was very well documented of everything that happened, all the crimes and stuff. And she said, Father Charlie had some of the same clippings and photos, and information in his room as well. And, Lois was like, at that point, I was like, there's no way he could have pulled this off by himself. He needed an accomplice. And so, Sister Mary TMZ, baby, she is like, oh, Lord. And so Lois is just like, let's just say that, Father Charlie was this Casanova and he was able to woo 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 you. And she was just like, you showed up, this whimsical hybrid, basically she said she was like a Disney character sidekick and what did she say? Basically Christ on a cracker. She was like, here you are just serving yourself up to him. And she was like, the fact that you were attracted to him, y'all had such sexual tension between the two of you, of course you would basically fall at his whim and just do whatever he wanted you to do. And so at this point, Sister Mary TMZ, she was like blasphemy and she starts speaking in tongue and she basically starts to attack Lois with the knife and baby, it just went downhill from there. So, honey, Lois and Sister Mary TMZ, they started fighting. Child, she was throwing glasses at her, baby. Sister Mary TMZ took that knife and stabbed her in her side. And, baby, what she do that for? Because, honey, once Lois got over there to that stove, when I tell you she poured every drop of that soup on Sister Mary TMZ, baby, I hollered. Because I was like, ain't no way she should be trying to get up from that. But she did and did. Honey, Sister Mary TMZ rose up off that ground like a phoenix, honey, and she started stabbing Lois with that butcher knife. And once Lois basically ended up passing out from all the stabbings, it's like we just got a remix on the whole situation. The whole scenario of the story just basically flipped on us. And I was like, okay, what in the heck is going on here? So now here we are with Marshall. He's sitting at the table talking to Merritt and Ed. It's like everything is completely different. They are having a conversation about the fact that, uh, Lois is the one in the hospital now. And of course, Ed and Merritt, they are having issues because she found out that Ed was having an affair with her mom and she is letting her dad know. It's just crazy. And of course, Ed, he is just like, I don't want to leave this family. You know, y'all been so good to me. I never had a family dynamic like this before. I'm telling y'all, they completely flipped the script on us. Like, I was like, you got to be freaking kidding me. So here we are with Lois, basically in a coma. And, Marshall, he's going to visit his wife and he's talking to her. He's basically repeating the same things we saw her say to him at the beginning of the season. And now we get why these balloons that she passed after her congratulatory party, when she, left out of the office, the balloon said, "Get well soon and feel better," because she is now the one who is in the hospital and seemingly in a coma. So Marshall leaves the hospital, honey, and he goes home to Nurse Red, aka I Love Lucy reject, baby. She done went from a I Love Lucy reject to a Jessica Rabbit reject, okay? She got her little OnlyFans or whatever going on social media. Cherry Red, baby. I hollered. Let me tell you something. I was like, y'all are really playing in our face with this show. Like, what the F is going on? So anyway, Marshall and Red are basically having an affair. She knows that Lois is in the hospital, and they're basically having a little disagreement about the situation that is currently going on. She ends up leaving the house or whatnot, and I'm like, you got to be kidding me. What exactly are y'all doing? I cannot. So here we get these images of this woman, this file of this woman. Someone is going through the file, they're flipping through the file. And y'all, if I'm not mistaken, this looks just like the lady who was the desk clerk at the hotel. You know what I'm saying? Like, I believe this is her, the woman that was abused with all the bruises. This appears to be her case file. And look who the detective is flipping through the doggone file. It's Sister Mary TMZ. Like, what in the world are y'all doing? So basically, she is now a detective. She is Detective Lois, aka Sister Mary TMZ. Child, I cannot. I cannot. So Marshall goes to the hospital. He is signing paperwork because he wants to have Lois taken off life support. And guess who's the doctor? It's Father Charlie, aka Sister Barry TMZ right hand man. So now the devil in the pulpit is now the man in the doctor's coat. Like, what are y'all doing? What in the world are y'all doing? This show is sending me. It is completely sending me, and I'm not here for it. Okay. So here we are in the hospital room, and they are about to unhook Lois from all the life support machinery or whatnot. And so Sister Mary TMZ, aka Sister Mary Detective Honey, she ends up showing up at the hospital along with Ed and his mullet child wanting to say goodbye to Lois. And Marshall basically lets her know, you are not coming in here to say anything to my wife. You are the reason why she is in this situation. It's just so much. I mean, the show completely did a 180 on this episode. Like, everything is basically in reverse, and I'm like, okay, whatever. Anyway, Merritt basically tells her dad, if you do this, you are basically going against me. I do not want you to take my mom off life support. She just basically is not here for it, and of course, he's not trying to hear it. So as they start to unhook her from all the machinery, we get to see all these flashes between Lois and Sister Mary TMZ. As you all know, they were fighting, they were scuffling. Sister Mary TMZ starts to stab Lois, and Lois ultimately is in this situation that we currently see her in now, as in her being in a coma in the hospital. So we see her on the floor. She is basically still alive, and she is trying to figure out her surroundings because Sister Mary TMZ is just basically all over the place, losing her doggone mind. So, honey, here we get more of these moments from Sister Mary TMZ acting a whole food, baby. She is literally acting like a rabid dog with all them burns on her from that doggone stew. So she basically is trying to make sure that Lois does not get up off of the floor. And, there's a blicky laying on the floor. It has been laying there since forever. And so she finally reaches over and picks it up, and she stands over Lois like she's about to pull the trigger. Keep in mind, she still has on those high heel red bottoms, and the floor is full of that stew. So Lois ends up having the strength to grab Sister Mary TMZ leg before she pulls the trigger, and Sister Mary TMZ falls back and hits her head. So after they unhook all of the life support machinery, we get to see Lois astral project from her body. It's like her body is laying there and she is just looking around, and all of her bodily functions, heart rate and things like that start to basically be active again. And of course the doctor and her daughter and everybody in the hospital room are surprised that her functions are starting to come back. And they end up going back to a moment in the kitchen between Sister Mary TMZ and Lois. And once we get to the scene with Lois and Sister Mary TMZ, honey, Sister Mary TMZ once again rises like a phoenix off of the floor, and Lois ends up popping her, and her head basically explodes. And after that, we see Lois open her eyes in the hospital bed, and everybody there is just standing around staring and in shock that she is basically alive. Oh, y'all. Okay. This show, I don't know what is going on. I don't know if this is a dream sequence episode. I do not know if episode 8 is going to actually pick up where we left off from episode 6, where she basically took the mask off the culprit. Apparently it is Father Charlie. I do not know if it's Father Charlie and Sister Mary TMZ, and if it is, I cannot believe I did not peep that. I kind of did, but I was like, nah, it's too obvious for them to have it be Father Charlie and Sister Mary TMZ. Even though the clues are there, I still felt like it would just be too obvious for it to be the two of them. Like, come on, make it make sense. But if, in fact, this is the case, if it has been Father Charlie and Sister Mary TMZ this whole time, it is what it is. At this point, I just want to know what is really going on with Lois, because clearly ma'am is dealing with some serious issues. Okay, we still do not know how her husband ended up in the coma. And now I'm wondering if that was the case with him. The whole situation that ended up happening between Lois and Sister Mary TMZ, like, did he get into some type of fight or whatever with someone, and was he the one who was stabbed, and that's how he, like, what is happening, what is going on? I guess we shall find out. I believe we have 3 more episodes left. And at this point, I'm just ready for it to be over, because I really want to know, like, what is going on, because I do not like when I don't know. Okay. Well, that's all I have for you guys in this video today. Please be sure to like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate the support. What do you guys think about this show? Like, I have no clue what is going on. But until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye.